he would speak, whoever came, he would give philosophical, instructions. That was his life. Whoever came, after 2 minutes, he would start talking about Krishna. And he used to keep this book, one by Dr. Radhakrishnan, one by Gandhi. And he used to show to very intelligent, prominent people, see what Dr. Radhakrishnan is saying, that this Kurukshetra is not a historical place. Kurukshetra means your body. 5 Pandavas means your 5 senses, and Kauravas means all the evil desires in the mind. And originally this poem of Mahabharata was written by some poet who assumed the fictitious name Vyas, and then somebody else added something, and somebody added something else, and it became a big epic. But it's not written by one man, but by several people. Like that, his Indological ideas which he learned from Westerners, that's what he was propounding. Prabhupada was blasting. He said, today historical place is there, Kurukshetra, and thousands of people are visiting, and he says Kurukshetra is not there. So, how can you learn Bhagavad Gita or hear anything from such person? Then he also had one book by Mahatma Gandhi, Essays on Gita. In one of the statements, Mahatma Gandhi says that if all these activities that are attributed to Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam, if all those activities are true, if actually such a person existed who performed these pastimes, then I refuse to accept him as God incarnate, even at the cost of being banished from Hinduism. So Prabhupada was very furious at this. He said that he had no understanding of who Krishna is. Krishna's pastimes are not material, they are transcendental. And of course, if God is there, then he must be the supreme enjoyer. Obviously, you have the tendency to enjoy, he must have it. Your tendency to enjoy is perverted reflection of his tendency to enjoy. He is the original enjoyer. And for you, you should banish yourself for desiring to actually enjoy pastimes with other female who are actually all God's wives, God's Prakriti. He is the Purusha, every other Jiva is Prakriti. Therefore your wife is also his wife. So our desire, we don't have any right, but God has all the rights. Like that he would explain to the people who visitors who came. And this way, even Gandhiji said in his autobiography, actually Experiments with Truth, that I always suffered from the lack of spiritual instructions because I never had a spiritual master. He admitted it. But still he made this kind of wild comments. But in his biography he has admitted that I never understood spiritual life. And I suffered because of that.
One time we were in Prabhupada's room in Vrindavan, and Jagadish was there, myself, a few other devotees. But Prabhupada was speaking Hindi to the guests, and we couldn't really understand too much. And Jagadish, I don't think, could understand anything. So we sat there, and it was, of course, ecstasy, just seeing Prabhupada, his exchanges with these people, So after the guests got up to leave, and Prabhupada was graciously walked them out to the door, and they said something to Jagadish, the guests, and they were big guests, like political guests or whatever they were. And they said something to Jagadish, of course, in English. And Jagadish replied, "Acha," like you say "Acha," like all the devotees say "Acha," right? And Prabhupada said, "Just see you speak in Hindi." The whole room just busted up, man. We were just laughing so hard.
Sometimes he would be very tolerant of his devotees. When whole thing happened about New York activity, Balimardan and his wife story. So he got some letters from New York and he was reading. And then he said, the whole problem is this sex life. He said, Janme sunadi grihamedi sukhami tucham, thu. Tucham means, thu means spitting. It's useless. He said, all sex life is bad, but especially illicit sex is very bad. So, we are having so many problems because of this illicit sex life. Thu. Janme sunadi grihamedi sukhami tucham. So it's a big problem, but Prabhupada spoke for 5 minutes and then he never spoke about it again. He reduced every problem to philosophical understanding. He always saw from the philosophical point of view. He was never a doer of anything. He depended on Krishna fully for everything. That I saw in every action. He would pursue a certain line, and if it did not, whether it was going to be successful or not, he left it to Krishna.
They were writing to Prabhupada that the new temple is like a palace. And I was very distraught about this because I was thinking, Prabhupada will be so disappointed when he comes. They're telling him it's a palace, but it's really only another storefront that's a little bit nicer. And I was thinking, oh, here Prabhupada's coming in, and I was thinking that he's going to be so disappointed, or maybe he'll be angry, and what's going to happen? And I was very distraught about this. So the first temple was just right off the Bowery on 2nd Avenue, and then the second temple was at 61 2nd Avenue, just a few blocks up, and it was a one-floor walk-up. It had been a tuxedo shop, and there were mirrors on the wall, so it was a little bit more gala storefront. So here Prabhupada's coming, and they're telling him it's a palace. And so Prabhupada did come in. He came in at the airport. Perhaps that's the time when the dancing, the beautiful tape of the devotees dancing with Prabhupada. But so he came in at the airport, he came in to the new temple, and he sat down on his Vyasasan, and he said, I prayed to Krishna to send me one moon, but he has sent me so many moon-like boys and girls. And I was just so amazed at his gratitude and his love, that here I thought he would be disappointed or perhaps angry, and he was so grateful for even the slightest endeavor of service.
Like I was saying before, how concerned he was about the devotees and how much he loved us and cared about us. It was wintertime then, it was like October, November, whatever it was, but we were sitting on, Krishna Balaram on the marble on the floor. And one morning it was especially cold, and Prabhupada looked down at us and he said, "You are cold?" I'm like, "Yes, Prabhupada." So that day he had myself and another devotee, I can't remember his name, Krishna, my god brother. Anyways, Prabhupada had us go to Agra and get all these madras, big, carpets to roll down on the floor for all the devotees so they would stay warm. He was always concerned about our health and like that. Like a loving father, besides being the savior of the whole world, he was like a loving father to all of us,